Good evening, y'all. I'm CWarner. I teach in Tulsa, Oklahoma at Burroughs Elementary School. Currently, I'm teaching fourth grade, but before unforeseen circumstances, I was teaching English language development, gifted and talented, and I served as a reading and math interventionist. Um, my big idea is self-advocacy. Johns Hopkins University and Burroughs Elementary School have both helped me to master and refine my practice. Johns Hopkins have helped me to master the importance and understand the importance of formative assessments, diagnostics, and summative assessments. Um, Using that data, I'm able to calculate and understand which students need what help in which areas and which standards, which have helped me a lot now that I'm in the fourth grade classroom I'm in today. Burroughs Elementary helped me understand the importance of classroom management in building relationships with students, staff, and the community at large. Without those strong foundational relationships, there is no way that the students will get the most out of what you are as a person and what you are as a teacher and educator. But what stuck most from me, from my advocacy work, is that united we stand, but divided we fall. You know, we all know our pledge, and we say it just about every day, but those words really stuck out with me. And I used that at the end of our announcements when we say our Pledge of Allegiance, and I told my students to really listen to that sentence, that line, and make what you think of it. Johns Hopkins University helped me to understand really what advocacy really means, as far as student advocacy, I should say. Johns Hopkins, recently this semester, I'm taking a class, and we were required to showcase advocacy visually. And I had trouble with it because I didn't know exactly what they meant. And even reading the directions and the information, it was still kind of ambiguous to me. So after much sleep and well-needed rest, I came up with a great, bright idea to do an inspirational gallery walk. And I wanted to advocate that my students' voice means something to them. Even if everyone is talking about the same thing, their voice and their opinions matters and should be heard and celebrated just as much as the next person's. So I pulled 3 inspirational quotes that I have on my inspirational wall within my personal classroom, not in my fourth grade classroom I'm in right now. And I gave students 2 minutes in their reading groups to walk around and discuss and write down notes about what they think this quote means to them. Not to anyone else, just to themselves only. At the end of that activity, my students and I, we sat together in the whole group and we discussed every single quote for about 20 to 30 minutes, longer than what the activity should have been. But that understanding and that conversation piece that we had in that space was unique in of itself. So I didn't want to stop that just because the time didn't allow for that. To further understand and showcase advocacy, I know that I have to model that. Currently in Oklahoma, we're facing a walkout that is going to happen Monday, April 2nd. Now, Huey P. Newton once stated that youth are passed through schools that don't teach, then forced to search for jobs that don't exist, and finally left stranded in the streets to stare at the glamorous lives advertised around them. And we often see that, not just the youth, but ourselves, on social media, within the media itself of the news, within our entertainment that we listen to. It's not just what they see on billboards around them. Without the proper funding and resources, youth of Oklahoma will not have their equitable shot of their version and their vision of the American dream. By most measures, Oklahoma teachers rank lowest paid in the nation, and they have not seen a pay raise in 10 years. This has undoubtedly affected the generational state of Oklahoma education. We're definitely pressed and pressured to perform high on these state testing, but we're giving the lowest of lows of resources to work with to meet those expectations. And when we fail to meet those expectations, we're often frowned upon, or receive bad observation scores, which affect our chances of getting a job somewhere else. And I go that to say because I've currently been in the news advocating my voice for the Oklahoma teachers. Lately, I did a recent interview with the Black Wall Street Times, and I voiced that our state legislators have forgotten that a teacher taught them. So why are we fighting this noble cause for state funding and teacher pay? And they're currently getting a new marble floor. So I believe that the funding is there, but I believe that it's going to other causes. And I want our state legislators and representatives to understand that this is not okay. That we depend heavy on our teachers to teach our youth and our future leaders, but yet we don't apply the proper fundings for them. Recently, the Oklahoma Policy, OklahomaPolicy.org released an infographic about the statistics what's going on in Oklahoma. They said that over the past decade, cuts in education funding have been severe. While K through 12 enrollment has grown by over 50,000 students, state general funding is down by $180 million. Many of the school districts within Oklahoma have gone to 4-day weeks. Adjusted for inflation, Oklahoma State general funding of school is down 28% per student compared to a decade ago. And the last time Oklahoma received a pay raise was a decade ago. A lot of teachers have mentioned that they recall going to that fight and doing that. Oklahoma now spends almost $1,700 per pupil less than our neighboring states. And those neighboring states are also taking our highly qualified teachers over there with them by getting much more money for doing the same work. And compared to the last 4 years, across the states, there are 525 less world language classes, 500 fewer family and consumer science classes, 1,115 fewer arts and music classes, meaning that our students are not getting that creative globalization, communication aspect and skills that they should learn in school. In closing, without Burroughs, I will not be the teacher I am today. I will not be the advocate for student voices, and I will not be the teacher that I believe in myself to be. Without Johns Hopkins University, I will not have the knowledge of working theories and strategies to master my craft and my passion. Advocacy is not waiting on someone to fix the problem, but it is taking the first step of the journey of 1,000 miles in search of the change we desperately need to succeed.